They said it couldn't happen, but it did. Time and time again, humans make claims that just don't stand up, or in this case, float. I'm talking about the infamous Titanic. RMS Titanic was an ocean liner owned by the White Star Line and was one of 3 Olympic-class ships, the other two being the Olympic and the Britannic. Bruce Ismay, who was chairman of the White Star Line, bragged that not even God himself could sink the Titanic. The Titanic was the shortest-lived ship of the Olympic class, as she sank on her maiden voyage from Southampton to New York just 5 days after she departed England. And you guys know what happens next. If you don't, where have you been? The Titanic hit an iceberg on April 14th, 1912, with 2,240 passengers aboard, and fully sank the next morning. Between 1,490 and 1,635 passengers were killed in the sinking. It's been 112 years since the Titanic sank. What are your thoughts on the Titanic sinking? What would you do if you were on that voyage?
We may know about the dangers of wildfires, such as the flames and carbon emissions, but just how much CO2 do they emit compared to other carbon dioxide sources? First of all, one other source of carbon dioxide is vehicles and transportation. According to Statista.com, about 7 billion metric tons of CO2 are emitted from vehicles yearly. Another source of CO2 is electricity. According to the World Nuclear Association, about 34 billion tons of carbon dioxide is emitted per year due to the burning of fossil fuels. Finally, according to Carbon Brief, the CO2 emissions from wildfires in 2022 was around 5.3 billion tons. Comparing that to the previous two sources, there's actually less carbon emissions from wildfires than transportation and electricity. In conclusion, wildfires may be pretty harmful for the environment, but the amount of CO2 emitted from them doesn't come close to some of the other carbon dioxide sources. So, in reality, using excessive amounts of fossil fuels in day to day life may be more deadly in the long run than a wildfire.
According to Sarah Maker, crochet is a type of needlework in which you use a hook to create fabric from loops of yarn. The materials for crochet are yarn you can use fluffy or normal, crochet hook, maybe a sewing needle. For plushies, yarn you prefer hooks, stuffing, and plastic eyes, and maybe a sewing needle.
Have you ever wondered how old you have to be to get a job and make money? Well, the Oregon law allows teens no younger than 14 to get a job. The law states that teens 14 and 15 years old can only work 18 hours per week during the school year and 40 hours per week while school is not in session. Some pros about working as a teenager are that teenagers who take part-time work often gain excellent time management skills and become far more organized. Another pro is it can help create a sense of responsibility and accountability. Some cons are that jobs may conflict with academic work. There could be a possible chance you would not be able to do homework if you're focusing on your job. Another con can be working hard or for too many hours can be a massive contributor to high stress levels. Federal government has strict laws about when and where you're allowed to work. These laws were created to protect you as an employee and make sure you are safe on the job. 14 and 15-year-olds can't get jobs with power-driven machinery in construction sites or warehouses. But the jobs they can get are fast food restaurants like McDonald's and like any ice cream shops. You can also work as a babysitter, assistant coach, tutor, and even a waiter. Lastly, 14 and 15-year-olds can get jobs that don't involve using machinery at that age. There can be lots of pros and cons about getting jobs as a young teen. Earning from teen part-time jobs may help families economically insofar as adolescents, children are able to purchase themselves items that their parents would otherwise provide.
Lindquist. My first job was painting houses when I was 14 years old.
First job. My first job, I was actually working at Macy's and I sold women's shoes. And I was 16 years old at that point.
I was 15 when I had my first job and I worked at a daycare. Hi, my name is Miss Lagunas, and my first job ever was working at the Salem Public Library, and I was 16 years old when I got that job.
Hi, welcome to Stevens. I'm Vivian, and this is Team Videos Network, and we're working on storyboards. And if you have any questions, you can ask me or one of my peers.
Lovely, thank you so much.